everybody, good morning. It's Jean here, Jean Truelove from Truelove Quilts for You. This is just a little addendum to my part 2 of my One Block Wonder Kaleidoscope quilt block making. My previous video, my part 2, this would be part 2.5, I was showing you how I was trying to get into the groove of making my blocks, chain piecing my blocks, okay? Well, this little video to come is just showing you how that I'm really keeping track of my blocks, step by step by step. So many people are like, oh, this looks like a very complicated, intricate quilt to make, my One Block Wonder quilt. You can refer back to part 2 if you're new here, or my playlist of what we're actually making. But I'm constructing these blocks, and as I keep saying, this little video here, just about 10 minutes, is the preliminary chain piecing and how I'm keeping everything in order. And then I will go and I will clip these apart. Then I will go over to my ironing board. I explained everything in part 2, but I was a little bit hesitant because I wasn't very comfortable doing the chain piecing. Now I have 2 blocks left to chain piece, and you will see I'll put up, not in fast motion or anything, I'll put up exactly in real time how long it's taken me to do the majority of my blocks chain piecing. So there's other steps to follow. One more thing is, if when I was making my blocks on part 2, at the very end I said we're going to be going over to our design excuse me, our design wall and placing the blocks. I keep saying we're sewing in rows, but the blocks will be joggled because they're hexagon blocks. Just stick with me, because it didn't make any sense to me, because a hexagon doesn't go on top of each other. You have all of these joggles, but if you offset them, then they fit in like a puzzle. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be fitting in whole blocks, but because we've only constructed them in half blocks, that's how we're going to be sewing them. So anyway, that again is to come in part 3. As I said, this is just a little addendum because I was trying to wrap my head around doing it not fast, but more in a controlled environment, trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to chain piece these so I'm not here a month of Sundays. And I've just done it fairly quickly, and as I said, you'll be seeing this in real time. So I hope you enjoy this video, and again, follow along for part 3 and 4, however long it takes to make our One Block Wonder quilt. Okay folks, I hope you enjoy this video. Hope you're all keeping well. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Love from the Trueloves. So this is a recap of part 2, my sewing of my blocks together. And as we learned in part 2, because my blocks have the squared off end, what I'm doing is when I'm chain piecing my blocks, I explained this last time, but this is how I'm getting into the groove of doing it. I'm putting my blocks, the 6 of my blocks, in one way. I got really confused if I turn the triangles the other way, whatever. Now, if you can see that my block here, the hexagonal shape, is the square down here and the squares up here, okay? There's my kaleidoscope block. What I'm doing is I'm trying to get into the groove of chain piecing all of my blocks together. This preliminary sew is I'm having my block like this with my center here. And what I'm doing is I'm taking these 2, the bottom 2, and putting pretty side to pretty side. Okay, I'm trying to get into the groove here of the chain piecing. Okay, so I'm doing those 2. Then I'm taking these next 2. All right, I'm taking the next 2 pretty side to pretty side. That leaves my top 2. Okay, I'm going like that, picking my presser foot up. So then when I go to put them together, I know that it's these 2 and these 2, and that these top 2 fit there. So, you know, it may make a lot of sense to you very quickly, very easy on, but I was getting confused. So now what I'm doing is I've chain pieced these 2, 4, 6 triangles. I'm just going to sort of lump that there, put them on top of each other like that. And then as I showed you in part 2, I'm going to pin that together. And this is, as I said, my preliminary. And I'll quickly do another one. Here's my square center. Now, again, you can turn these, but I'm not going to. I'm just putting my center on because it confused me a little bit. So this is my block. I'm okay with that. Now I'm going to shift it so that I see the square down here, okay? And I'm taking these two, pretty side to pretty side, sewing it. I'm taking, I don't even bring out my presser foot. I'm taking these two, pretty side to pretty side, always sewing down to my center, matching them up. And then I'm going to shift that, take these two, put these on top of each other, and then pin them. And then I have, as I said, that's my preliminary. And so that only took me maybe 30 seconds or so for each block, that preliminary stage. That's all. Now we're going to go over, I'm going to finish all these up, as I was saying, in part 2, and we're going to go to part 3, hopefully when all my blocks are done.